5.5 is packed with new animation features and I'm really excited to share this with you. Now, I actually wanted to make this video a few months ago, but back then the workflow using these tools with Sequencer was not quite ready yet. Then Epic dropped a huge update, the brand new Deformer system powered by the Animator Kit Plugin. And let me tell you, it's a game changer. So let's dive in. Alright, so what exactly is a deformer? If you're into animation, you might already have an idea, but let me break it down for you. It's actually super simple. A deformer allows you to add extra deformations, as the name suggests, without needing to add extra bones or joints to your rig. You also don't need to rely on blend shapes or morph targets in Unreal. Pretty cool, right? This means we can animate like never before, easily creating complex deformations that would normally be a headache to manage with just the character's rig. Now that you've got the context, let's jump into Unreal to see how it works and most importantly, how to activate it. As I mentioned earlier, the first step is to activate the Animator Kit plugin. This unlocks a tons of new features, including the deformers we'll be using today. Once you've got it enabled and restart Unreal, you're ready to go. You can now use any deformer directly in Sequencer. This is a huge upgrade because before 5.5, deformers already existed that were mostly designed for in-game animations. Process back then was much more complicated, so this is fantastic news for animators. For today's demo, we'll use this adorable little car I found on Sketchfab. I made a few tweaks and rebuilt the rig from scratch to get it ready. And don't worry, no need to set up a complex rig or a custom control rig beforehand. You just need a skeletal mesh. That's all. Alright, let's create a sequencer and bring our car into it. Once you've got your car added, click the plus icon on the skeletal mesh track, look for control rig, and then filter for deformer. If you don't see anything, don't worry. Make sure to enable show engine content and show plugin content via the little gear icon here. You can also turn off the filter asset by skeleton option if needed. Now as you can see, we've got access to several default deformers. Everything from a camera space lattice to a simple lattice and even a sculpt deformer. Let's start with the camera space lattice. This one's really interesting because it allows us to manipulate deformations based on the camera's point of view. But to make it work properly, we need to set it up just right. So let's add a spawnable camera directly to the sequencer. Just click on the camera icon here. And boom, you've got your camera ready to go. Now that we have all the actors we need, the final step is to parent our deformer to the camera. Here's how. Unfold the camera space lattice track and find the camera handle track. Select it, and in the animation mode, click the plus icon under the constraints section. But don't rush. Before adding the constraints, click on those little three dots. This is super important. This is with all the maintain offset attributes. Make sure to uncheck it. Why? Because we want our deformer to match the camera point of view perfectly, with no extra offset. Once that's set, click Create and select your camera. And just like that, your deformer will snap right to the camera position. To see the magic, enable the camera's point of view using this little icon here, and now your setup is fully configured. From here, you can select individual points or multiple ones at a time, move them around and start animating with this awesome new tool. Quick tip here. To make the process smoother, go to animation mode and activate only select rig controls. This will let you focus on selecting points without accidentally grabbing geometry or anything else. It's a small thing, but trust me, it's a total game changer for your workflow. Don't forget, you also have access to a variety of parameters that you can animate through the camera handle track and the camera lattice track. Head over to the Anim Details panel to explore these settings and experiment with what works best for your animation needs. Whether you're using a static camera or even an animated one, this unlocks tons of new creative possibilities.
Stefan, why is your gizmo different from mine? What did you do to get that one?
Great question. This gizmo is one of the many quality of life updates Epic has given us. And if I remember well, it was introduced in 5.4. To enable it, you first need to activate the new TRS Gizmo's plugin. Once that's done and you've restarted Unreal, you'll need to head over to the editor preferences to fully activate it. Just search for TRS Gizmo in the preference filter and you found the setting there. And voila! Look at this beauty! It's super handy, offering features like using the middle mouse button to quickly snap back to the last manipulated axis. It's a real-time saver when animating. That said, it's not perfect just yet. For example, when using Shift plus drag to move an object, the camera doesn't always follow the translation smoothly. It can get a little wonky, but hey, it's still a great improvement overall. And that's not all. 5.5 brings another great feature that's currently under development, and I'm sure you're going to love it. Here's the situation. When working in Sequencer, you've probably run into this. You're adjusting your tracks, then need to refocus on a specific control in the viewports. But first, you have to reselect something to wake up the viewports. It's a little frustrating, right? Well, not anymore. Thanks to a console command, you can now seamlessly manage this just by hovering over the viewports. Enter the console command AnimMode.PendingFocusMode 1 and watch the magic happen. A quick note here, this feature only works when you are in animation mode, but still, it's a game changer for streamlining your workflow. Try it out and let me know what you think. There are so many awesome new features with this 5.5 that I can't cover everything in this video, but don't worry, I'll be preparing a lot of video about that. You've got two more types of deformers to explore, starting with the simple lattice. This one is pretty familiar to most animators. Take a look. You'll notice we have several subdivisions options here. While it's the same deformer, one thing to keep in mind is that for now, we can't dynamically change the number of points directly within the sequencer. But here's the exciting part. We can actually create our own custom Lattice Deformer, or any deformer we want for that matter. I'll touch on how to do that in just a bit. Now let's head back to our adorable little cicada and see what else we can create. Let's take the 4x4 lattice for example. It's super simple to use. Just unfold the track and select the Lattice Deformer. And now we've got the primary control in your hands. You can scale it, fit around your car, and then, well, you know what comes next. Use the shortcut Ctrl+Alt plus middle mouse button to select one or more points at once, and you can start adjusting them as needed. You can add keys, move the whole structure, and create whatever effect you want. Simple, right? Now if you look closely, you notice something cool. Each deformer comes with a mask bond picker track. Don't worry, I'll circle back to that in just a minute, so stick with me. But here's a big question. How these deformers are actually built? Can we dive in and analyze them? Absolutely. Let's take a look. If you hover over any deformer in your sequencer, you can target the path to its location. The root directory is inside the Animator Kit Plugin, so let's open the content drawer. Make sure both engine content and plugin content are activated. Now select the engine root folder and filter by Animator Kit. You should be able to easily spot all the deformers that Epic has created for us. Let's take a look at the Lattice 2x2 first. At first glance, it might seem a bit complex, but if you're familiar with Control Rig and how it's built, the matrix here becomes pretty easy to understand. To make things more clear, let's create our own Lattice Deformer based on this one that's already been created. The heart of this setup lies under the construction events. If we follow the B pin of the sequence node, we'll find quite early on the variable num points. This is the key variable. It controls the total number of points or the subdivision level of the lattice, whichever way you prefer to call it. You can verify this by opening up other lattice examples, like the 3x3, and comparing them. The structure is procedural, so it's the same in all of them, with the only difference being this num points variable. But before we go further, we don't want to mess with this file because it's in the engine content. So first, let's make a copy in our content. So go ahead and locate your own folders. Drag and drop one of the lattice examples and when prompt, choose the copy option. Now we can fully play around with it without worrying about breaking anything in the process. Let's say, for example, we want to build a 6x6 Lattice Deformer. What we need to do now is adjust the num points variable we talked about earlier, this integer vector variable. Here's a little cautionary note. While you can technically use any value here, you don't want to go too high. Let's change it to the value we want and you'll see the impact right away. When you do this, you get a warning because using high values can cause performance issues. The Control Rig Deformer will generate extra invocation and calculations, which can be too much for the editor to handle in real time. In short, working with a high lattice point value will make things laggy and unstable, so keep it reasonable. You can modify the run limit in the class settings of this deformer, but be cautious, as changing it may cause issues down the line. So the process is the same as before. In your sequencer, under your skeletal mesh, you now see your newly created 6x6 Lattice Deformer. It's ready to be used and animated. Moving on, let's explore our last example, the Sculpt Deformer. This one is great and you will see how quickly we can achieve amazing results. Let's create a new sequencer for this example and put this new deformer to the test. The workflow is the same, you already know the drill. For this one, we'll work with three main tracks. First, use the primary control track. This is the key to defining the area of influence. You can translate, rotate and scale this shape to your liking. Additionally, there are more parameters you can tweak in the Animators tab on the right side, giving you explicit control over your setting. When positioned, you can move on to the handle control track. This controls the intensity of the deformation based on the area defined by the first control. Just like with the first track, you can translate, rotate and scale as needed. This gives you unparalleled flexibility and ease of animation like never before. Everything is gearable and it's so fun that you just want to keep animating.
What about the mask bone picker control? I tried to use it, but I don't quite get it.
Great question once again, so let me explain how it works as it changed a bit since the preview version. To illustrate, I'll use our well-known Cacto Pistola. Here's what I did and how I could use the mask bone picker track. I decided to apply the Sculpt Deformer to simulate the physics of the poncho. It can be tricky to combine keyframe animation with physics, but I thought it could be a perfect opportunity to experiment with deformers here. And honestly, the result is fantastic. In the end, I just parented the deformer to the calf bone of my character. Since it's created from the poncho skeletal mesh, when I move the leg of my character, the deformer will interact with the poncho, giving me full control over the movements. Just take a look at that. Pretty amazing, right? And not only that, you could use the deformers to simulate wind or random effects on the cloth. I can already imagine spending countless hours animating with all these fantastic tools. Now, let's get back to the mask bone picker control. As you can see here, without it, I end up with unwanted interactions with parts I don't want to affect. To make this control work properly, we need to adjust its space attribute using the animation mode, just as the name suggests. Without these adjustments, moving the control won't have any effect. So let's create a new parent space for this control by clicking the plus icon. Then select the appropriate bone where you want the interaction to be focused. Now, if you activate the mask, you should start seeing how it behaves. By adjusting the expand attributes or even inverting the mask, you get a better understanding of how this works. So now you got the full rundown on deformers. I hope you have a clear understanding of the concept and how to use them in the sequencer. I can't wait to see what the amazing animation you will do with all these new tools. Feel free to share your thoughts and experience in the comments, and thanks again for your support. I hope this video was not too complicated to... I wanted to say that. I hope this video was not too complicated to follow because of the noise and the birds, all that stuff. We're in the middle of the nature. It's really like the jungle here. Then... So, yeah, bear with me guys. Thanks again and see you next week. Ciao!